2.9 yards per rush attempt. They're 13th in the league in terms of just total rushing yards allowed at, now it's 2 weeks, but 97 yards a game is their average.
But there's things to like. There's no question about it because, and there was a series where, they had a 16-yard run in this particular series in the second quarter. This is the series where they threw the flea flicker and our rookie corner got beat.
He bid on it.
He did. Big time. That's exactly, and I think they said this on the broadcast. I think Rabel and I talked about it. That's what you run against a rookie.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your
it worked.
Welcome to the NFL moment, and I'll bet you that Devin Witherspoon never bites on that again. But and we'll get to him because there's a lot to like there with him. But when you look at on that series, there's a run for 1 yard, a run for -3, a run for 4 yards, another run for -3. So they're playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage this year, and I love the way that they're penetrating gaps. And I got to say, Jay Reed, I think, is a really good player inside. But this Cam Young kid, he is a brawler. And he had, I think it was Ragnow, their center, and he just, put an arm out and just marched him backwards, man. And I understand he's very verbal, too. Somebody went up to him afterwards, like, man, that was a really good game. He's like,
Oh, you're being sarcastic.
I like that about my nose.
You like a guy who grunts.
I like that about my nose guard, man. No, we actually had Cam Young on during camp, and he was great. But, yeah, he's just one of those guys that he's a battler in there. Those guys don't get a lot of, pub or, big plays or anything. But just I love seeing that, man. Mario Edwards Jr. on one of those plays, I think on the -3 yard carry, he's penetrating into the backfield. Now, you have to be careful about it. Like, a guy like Darrell Taylor sometimes turns his shoulders a little bit too much, but you see the interior guy, he's getting better at it. He's getting better at playing the run, but this is something that's a huge turnaround, but it shouldn't be at the sacrifice of something else. And it's like they've entirely swapped, the 2.9 yard per attempt. That's really good. I mean, but you're allowing lots of passing yards.
Yeah, before we talk about what they're not doing well, let's get Pete's take on how it feels to be third best in the league at this point, again, after 2 games, in terms of fewest rushing yards allowed per attempt.
You have to give Clint a lot of credit here. He has set his sights on making this happen, and with the emphasis and structure of what we're doing, the subtlety of the calls, but it's the discipline that it takes. This is such a hard thing to do without discipline. They have to be so strict. It's not just hard, tough guys throwing guys on the, to the side making tackles. It's everybody fitting together, and that's an orchestration that he's responsible for. Now, you've got some terrific guys now. It starts with Jay Reed right in the middle. He's a tremendous technique, tactical player, and so he starts the whole. It works out from him, and then Bobby and Jay Brooks and the guys doing their thing. On. Chenna, so disciplined on the edge and so aggressive. It's all of that makes it happen. And then it comes down to the DBs cleaning it up.
So that's all, 2 games in. We'll see how it goes. But right now you feel much better because it was such a liability last year. Now, as you just mentioned, Dave, the focus and the adjustments have been on the run defense. The passing defense is 2 games, so no panic, but not good. They are 30th in passing yards allowed at 325. Both quarterbacks, Stafford in week 1, and then Jared Goff in this week went well over 300 yards. They are 31st in total yards allowed at 422, and they are 29th in the league in sacks. They have 2. Now, again, I feel like I've got to say it's 2 games. Right. So there's no panic. There's no, oh, my God. But it is something to keep an eye on. Interesting that, you feel good about the run early. You don't feel great about the pass early.
The one thing about defense, though, it feels so much worse when they're running on you than when they're passing on you.
It's soul-crushing, Dave.
It is, and it just wears you down. And then, on the other side of the ball, when you're able to just dominate someone physically up front, it just feels good, get you fired up. Offensive linemen love that. Love it. So, yeah, it's something that does need to change, but it doesn't feel that bad. But, you have some of the things like, we talked about Devin Witherspoon biting on the flea flicker. I mean, that adds to it. Some of the they can't defend a slant route for whatever reason. They need to, tidy that up. Certainly, we saw it in the Ram game in particular. So, but, as far as the sacks go, who has less sacks than them is Detroit. And I feel like with Aiden Hutchinson and that pass rush they have, they've got some good players up front. It's not working for them either, which is pretty amazing considering on the other side of the ball we had 2 tackles that weren't super experienced in Forsyth and Curran. But I just think overall it feels better. To sum it up, it feels better to be able to stop the run than it does to be able to stop the pass. And I have a lot of confidence in Carl Scott. He's a very smart guy, and he cleaned it up last year. I mean, they went from 31st in yards allowed as far as passing goes, and up to 13. So I think he'll get it turned around.
Yeah, one other category they're not great in right now is points allowed, and that's the ultimate. Points allowed, they are 29th at 30.5 per game. 2 games. So we'll see. But it's you kind of looked at it and went, all right, you gave up 30 in game 1 and 31 in game 2, and a lot of yards, and Goff had 3 touchdown passes. I mean, so far these two teams were able to kind of do what they wanted offensively. So it's kind of in the back of my mind. I'm looking at it going, okay, I'm not panicking. I'm watching.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you got 3 takeaways. So, I mean, that softens it. It makes it feel better. If you talk about the pass defense, I'm thinking about the Ram game. That was the one where they just seemed like it was like I said before, it was like 7 on 7. This one, at least, you stopped the run, and you got some takeaways, got a sack, you got the forced fumble, all that stuff. The 3 takeaways went +3.